Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who. That's right, folks, we're back, and we're going back to the first Doctor era. We are going to look at The Rescue, a nice little short two-parter, and it featured the first Doctor, Ian and Barbara, and we were introduced to Vicki. And, we've done other stories with her, and, she lived into up to her reputation right from the start in this one. So it'll be fun to talk all about, and we definitely want to hear from you guys about it. Please write us feedback at earthstationwho.com, and that's the best way to get in touch with us. Thank you for everyone who turned out to say howdy to us at Pensacon. God, that's already 2 weeks ago, and it was a blast. Mary and I had a great time, and
Wonderful time.
it was wonderful. And our two other co-hosts here were very much missed. And, hopefully next year, as we like to say. And, thank you for the wonderful folks at Pensacon for hosting us. And we've already been informed that we're going to be back again next year. So, yay.
Nice.
Woohoo!
So awesome, awesome. So definitely, if you're listening to us for the first time from Pensacon, or if you just found us somehow, under a garbage bin or something, like, hey, you know, oh, a Doctor Who podcast. I'll listen to that. So it's perfect. Why not? So it is awesome for you guys to be listening to us. Thank you so, so much. We do appreciate you guys. Let's say hey to our co-host, of course. We heard from Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
It's great to have you here, Mary. And let's welcome back Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And who's been missing for a little bit because she was at MegaCon, Miss Melanie Dean.
Hello, everyone, and everybody in the Hooniverse and beyond.
And beyond, exactly. And
How was
it
how was
was,
MegaCon? Because they had a
yeah,
lot of Doctor
please
Who
tell
people
us, how
there.
was it?
Insane. It is a adjective.
How
That could
big of a
go.
con is MegaCon?
MegaCon is very
Mega.
big.
Mega?
Mega.
Mega.
This it has a tendency of going between two different big convention centers in the Orange County Convention Center. There's two big buildings. So it was in
Okay.
the larger north-south this time. Once again, it was just packed to the gills with people. Could unless you reserved parking, you couldn't find parking. The guest list was
Insane. It really was
nuts.
awesome.
It really was amazing I mean, they had everybody from they had the entire cast of Skeleton Crew. So if you were a lot of current things, but for in this case, Doctor Who, my goodness, it was everybody from like Bill. That's so many companions. They even had that was the first time they had the 11th Doctor. So
Right?
Matt Smith was his first time in Central Florida.
Hmm.
But they so many companions were there, and the great thing as a fan, if you can go look through like maybe the MegaCon 2025 hashtag to see a lot of fan photos, they had a specific photo that was just companions. So it was all the companions and that happened to be there. So you're looking at like six different companions all in the same photo that you could have your photo op with, and they're all just having a great time. They had the panel together. So it was
Right?
people who didn't really work, never really worked before with one another. Maybe like oh, if like Freema was there, and she probably did not work, it's all different doctors. So it was just yeah, it was amazing.
Right.
Of course names aren't coming to my head right now, but
I know, I
huge,
know,
huge
I know
convention.
Jenna Coleman was there, and
Yep.
so Arthur
Billy
Dark
Piper was
was
there.
there, Billy
Billy Piper was
Piper.
there.
Yep.
Arthur Darvill was there.
Alex
Mhm.
Kingston.
Alex
Alex Kingston.
Kingston was there, and she's just Alex Kingston has that tendency of being very river-like in that she just has chemistry with anyone.
Yes, she
And I
does.
mean, many of the actors and actresses, of course, do that. Freema's very much one of those kind of con people.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's they had so many meetups and so many just there was a lot of Doctor Who cosplay. There was a lot of Doctor Who panels. The Dalek builders were there, so you had Daleks rolling around here, there, and everywhere, and crashing
Awesome.
panels and stuff. So yeah, it's a great, great convention, and it's MegaCon has been very good about not just being current, um, shows, but they'll do a lot of those kind of recaps of, hey, here's the screencast. Here's like the last year they did a National Lampoon's thing. Here's everybody. So they do some really crazy deep cuts, which is just phenomenal and awesome. So if you just love television, it's just like a little love letter to everything that's entertament.
That
It's
is
a big
awesome.
convention. Highly recommend it.
Yep. And I've heard amazing things about this year's con, and everyone loved it except for the parking, is what I've heard.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
$40 for
awesome.
parking. You have to prepay each day.
Oof.
Wow.
Wow.
Ouch. Oh,
Oof.
that's
That's
almost
not
what it
fun.
is at Dragon Con. So, so there you go. So awesome, folks. It's great to have all four of us back in the same room together. We do actually have a little bit of Doctor Who news. We actually got a date when the season is returning. We are getting Doctor Who on the 12th of April. That's right, folks. And we're going to have 8 episodes. Episode titles have not been announced yet, but I'm sure that'll be coming sooner than later. So I'm sure we'll have that, and we'll be here to represent it and review it all the time. And we've already got a lineup of folks who want to join us. And if you want to join us to help review it, please drop us a line. We definitely would love to have some of our listeners in also. So definitely. So we'll be like the Brady Bunch. We'll have the circle or square in the middle there with another person. So they could be the Alice of the show. It would be perfect. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a new guest, of course, for the season. Alan Cumming is returning to Doctor Who. So his role is going to be a cartoon character come to life. So they're realizing that there's a world out there. So it'll be very interesting to see. So
The reincarnation of King James.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the rumor now.
Because when I first
there
saw it,
you
I'm like,
go.
how are you bringing him back? He was literally just in the show in the Witchfinders, and they're like, oh, it's his voice. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still correlates
Nobody
to
watched the
Con.
Chibnall stuff, so it's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And
he's
that
like
is
oh goodness, I can
5
actually be in
minutes
real Doctor
into-
Who.
5 minutes into the episode for the first Gibnall Bash. There we go. So
Like that episode. Sorry.
that's okay. But it was a Chibnall Bash, no whatsoever. So
Ding.
it
It
should be
is
a
one of
ton
the
of
better
fun.
episodes, that's for sure.
Yes, it is. Very much so. And so we'll be there, and we definitely are looking forward to what we're going to get. And you know what, folks? Doctor Who is just, we're excited about it. And, hopefully we'll get news about a 3rd season, and, hopefully sooner than later also with it. So, because we don't even know I don't think we've heard if we're getting a Christmas special yet this year. I don't think they've even announced that.
They have not announced it yet, but RTD loves his Christmas specials, so I would not be
Yes, he
surprised.
does. Exactly. So,
Yeah, it's one thing I kind of been on the assume side because he traditionally loves them.
Yeah, I would
he's a
think
holly
that he would
jolly
lobby
Christmas
for
guy.
that. Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, it should be a ton of good stuff coming our way, and we're looking forward to it.
I think we also know that our boy Stephen Moffat will be writing some episodes as well because he announced that he's not done.
Of course, he isn't, because
Yeah,
Stephen
big
Moffat lied.
surprise.
so we'll have a couple of episodes penned by Stephen Moffat. It looks like so.
Yes,
Again, I'm excited about that because he's not pulling double duty, show running 2 different shows and writing. Moffat just writing one thing. I'm happy as a clam.
exactly. So, I'm all good with that. You good with that? You're good with it? You're good with it?
I'm happy
So
about
it's
it.
I'm a Moffat fan, so
good. So,
Moffat head.
Okay.
Is that what we call ourselves? I don't know.
we're Moffat heads. That's a good way to put it. So I guess if, that's all the Doctor Who news that we really need to cover right now, it's time to put Mary in the geek seat. She's our victim this week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I did not
You know,
prepare at all.
It was, Mary had a big event happen this last week. It was her birthday. So we figured the best way to celebrate on the podcast is to throw her in the geek seat.
Yeah, I'm officially old.
Yeah, exactly. She is 22 now, girl. and gentlemen.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my IQ.
How dare no.
IQ, I think, is getting lower by the day.
Okay, well that's fair because I could say the same thing for myself.
Exactly. So, Mary, you ready for your first question in the geek seat?
No, but go ahead.
All right. Mary, who was your first doctor?
First doctor or favorite doctor?
First, this is first
Because
doctor.
the first one I ever saw was Tom
Yes.
Baker on
Okay.
PBS.
Awesome. How old were you?
Oh my God. I don't know, maybe 11, 12, somewhere around in there.
Oh,
Oh,
only
wow.
10 years ago.
Exactly.
Right. It
Thank you.
seems like it was yesterday. And I
That
was
is
not
a,
into it. My sister was into it. I saw it because she was watching it.
so it's Barbara's fault.
Yeah, everything is Barbara's fault.
Well,
I was
yes, I
much
know.
more of a Star Trek fan,
Oh,
a
really?
Doctor Who fan when I was a kid.
Gotcha. Which doctor would you like to travel with?
Matt Smith.
Really?
Absolutely Matt Smith.
Awesome.
He is my favorite.
And he also has a very cool steampunk TARDIS. So
Yeah. If you want to divide it into classic and new Who, then it would be Patrick Troughton for classic.
that would be
They're,
fun too.
they're kind of related.
Yep.
They are.
Which doctor would you not want to travel with?
Oh, the Sixth Doctor. That's an easy one.
That is always
I
an
don't
easy one.
I don't want to go anywhere near somebody who tries to strangle his companions.
What about one who tries to hit them with a rock in the head with a
Yeah.
Yeah.
rock?
Hey, we're talking about him tonight.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
So
So,
he was trying to just hit it extra on the head with a rock. That was okay.
Yeah.
what geeks you out most about Doctor Who?
The absurdity of it. I love the way everything is twisted around and wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. I love that it's a nonlinear narrative. I it just makes me happy to see something that always seems to be fresh and new, no matter what, and it's forever changing.
No, totally makes sense. What turns your geek off about Doctor Who?
Some of the fans who call themselves fans and yet disparage everything about it.
Dance, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all they want to do is complain.
Trolls, as we like to call them.
Yeah, and I'm just so over that. I'm tired of that. I'm not saying you have to be Pollyanna because I complain about Chris Chibnall all the time.
We all do.
But
It's
Ding.
yeah.
it's another holiday.
I need a
Basically, it's one of
bell.
our favorite topics. So we even did that when we were at the con couple weeks ago when we were doing our panel. We
Mel, do we need a chimney bell?
We do.
Chip
We
bell?
need a chimney
We do
bell.
need
I
a
need that
Chibnall
or like a little
bell.
Chip
yes, one
bell,
of the
ding!
Yeah,
Ring the chip
Chibnall.
bell, ding!
just got queuing up on my phone.
Did you
I
not-
feel like there's a line that gets crossed because yes, we're mocking Chibnall, but I don't feel like, and of course Chris might feel differently about this, but we're not being like mean-spirited. We're not like disparaging him because of the way he looks or the color of his skin or his gender or something like that. But there's this line that has been crossed with some quote unquote Doctor Who fans where they're they just want to hurt people. And that
and they
is
also,
entirely against what Doctor Who is about for me.
exactly, they hate just to hate, basically.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Which Doctor Who companion would you like to meet the most?
Oh, Alex Kingston. And don't anybody say she's not a companion, because yes, she is.
River is a companion.
She's
Yeah.
a wife.
Yeah, Alex Kingston is a companion. Oh,
Yeah.
hello. You know,
And I like Arthur Darvill a lot. I just like Rory.
but
I just
it's
like
not
to
like
sit down with Rory and talk to him about what he's been through.
mhm. You really waited over 2,000 years for Amy?
Right.
So, wow. Which Doctor Who villain would you not like to meet?
I wouldn't like to meet the old-timey Cybermen. You know,
The
the
ones that have
Cybermen,
socks as faces.
yes. Oh my God, they're terrifying. Or like, you know, when they brought them back and Bill turns into the cyber person,
Yep.
that is completely horrifying. There's just something about the body horror that because the Daleks, they're just in a tank. I mean, they're scary, but they're in a tank. But the Cybermen just slowly changing you into this slave-like thing, cyborg thing, is to me, that's horrifying.
No, I totally understand that. That's, and that's what's interesting about the Cybermen, because especially the original ones, the one with the socks, you felt like you could almost pull it off and see like a rotting corpse or something
Right.
and,
Hmm.
Yeah, you
and
can see the
everything.
horrible things they've done to them underneath that, and yeah.
Exactly. No, I totally understand that. What was your favorite Doctor Who geek out moment?
Oh my God. Well, geek out moment as in the show, as in watching
Show,
the show, or as
show,
in like meeting
cat,
somebody.
meeting somebody, casting of
Because
somebody.
meeting Frasier was a pretty big geek out moment.
We
Meeting
made ass,
Frasier Hines,
we made
Jamie.
asses of ourselves
Yes,
doing
we
meeting
did.
Fraser. Yes,
But
we
oh my
did.
God, it was so cool to meet him.
Yes,
And he was so kind and generous
yes, he was. Very nice gentleman. Very, very much.
and yeah, I totally geeked out over that. I still geek out over that.
What was your most disappointing geek out moment of Doctor Who? Meeting Fraser Hines at the
No, I think that might be Chris Chibnall.
Hmm.
Not meeting him, but his whole
What the
error
heck?
was pretty disappointing.
Oh wow.
Sorry,
Okay.
Chris.
Sorry,
I
Chris.
loved
All right.
Broadchurch.
I like the first season of it.
Yeah, oh
All right.
yeah.
All right, Mary, you're ready for your final question in the geek seat.
As ready as I will ever be.
What or who would you like to see on Doctor Who?
Oh my God. I, you know, I'm not sure I can think of anybody new I want to see on Doctor Who. I actually, you know what I would like is for Jodie Whittaker to come back, at least for one story, and be really redeemed by some amazing writing.
Okay.
Because I feel like she was such an amazing ambassador in addition to Doctor Who, and she got shafted. And it was very unfair. And I would love to see what she could do with just some really excellent jewel of a script.
Nope. Agree. I like that. Well, Mary, you've made it through the geek seat.
I
Congratulations. She
Woo!
survived!
survived it. Mr. Mike Gordon, tell the young lady what she's won.
You
Absolutely
have
nothing.
won. I have no idea.
The
I
admiration
think
of all her co-hosts.
you've won the day, but the scars will be with you forever.
I'll never get over it. It's one of those
Okay.
things that just haunts you.
It just haunts and haunts and
Yeah.
haunts.
Good luck getting a good night's sleep now.
Right.
Exactly.
Like some people on their deathbed, their last words are rosebud, and mine will be
Rose.
Dixie. No, Faber's last word will be rose.
Yeah. Rose. Oh, no. So, awesome. Well, if you enjoyed that segment, you too can take a shot at the geek seat. If you were interested, please write us feedback at ourstationwho.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back in a moment. And we are going to talk all about the rescue. Welcome back. Now we are going back to 1965. We are looking at The Rescue. It is featuring William Hartnell as the Doctor, William Russell as Ian, and Jacqueline Hill as Barbara, and introducing Maureen O'Brien as Vicki. Okay, so was this everyone's first time seeing this one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Amazingly, no.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, I have seen this before. And I don't know why. I cannot figure out where I watched it before. And it
Right.
was probably sometime with my mom when we would just watch like random episodes.
Right.
But yeah, I was surprised at how familiar it was, and
Yeah, you
it did
probably
not
dialed it up
get
and
better
said,
on the second showing.
you probably dialed it up and said, hey, this is two-parter, this is a short one. Why not?
Right. Well, actually, that probably is exactly what happened. I was sitting with my mom. We were just looking for something to watch.
Because there weren't too many that were this short. I think
Yeah.
there's one that early on in the first Doctor era, there's one that's just one half-hour episode, and then there's this one which is two. And I don't know, I haven't come across any that I can't think of any that are that short either. But maybe I'm wrong. But
Yeah, they do not give Vicki a lot of time for her debut.
no,
No.
Actually, in some ways, I thought it was too much, Vicky. In a little bit, it
Well,
was
that's because they
okay.
made Vicki a Susan clone, especially in this
Well,
episode.
exactly.
yeah, they didn't sort
Yeah,
of try to go too far beyond that mold.
no, they
Mm-hmm.
really didn't.
Nope, exactly. And you know, the story was predictable. The story, who the bad guy was and what it was about. And I want to say I was trying to have fun with it, but they once again were in a deep dark cave with, a creature, monster living at the bottom of the pit. They did that in the Dalek story, and
Mm-hmm.
it's,
They've done
and
it in a
many
lot of
others. Yeah, it's
stories. In
about many
fact,
others too.
you even knew who,
Yeah. So, what were your opinions of the first one of the storyline? Let's go to Melanie first.
It's sad that I'm like, this is a filler episode.
Yeah, it was a
It's
filler
it's
two-parter.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't it's I could I if this was like almost like a debate class, I could like did and was told, okay, just completely, trash this one. I could do it. But then on the other hand, I could also be if you told me, okay, we're gonna do a debate team, talk about every good point. I could do that too. So it's like I'm like down the middle. This was decent. I like the fact that it was only two episodes because it was short. I liked that. It's yeah, I mean, it was very tropey. Nothing was very surprising to me, except I had to keep telling myself her name's Vicky, not Susan. Which I just sometimes I just
Even the doctor called her Susan.
yeah.
he called her Susan at one point. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, okay, so it's not just me.
Hmm.
I'm as a not even recovering, as a terrible human being, I have a tendency of watching the older episodes and in a way to kind of really engage with them because they're not the type of entertainment that I'm accustomed nowadays.
Sure.
I have a tendency of like talking back to the screen or yelling at the doctor. I do that a lot. I'm like, what are you doing? And then most of the times it's me yelling at Ian, going, why are you going that way? And then Barbara, why did you get flung off a cliff again? Because that's just clearly what you do. Okay, well, here we go.
There we go.
Here we go. Um, there, as a whole, I liked the episode. It's a good filler episode. It had its highs, it had its lows. I'm trying to not be too spoilery and my just in my
Spoiler.
quick yeah,
Yeah,
spoilers.
we have no rules here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the way the creature I have to admit, I really liked the costuming on this one for the creatures.
Oh, the
I thought that
Quillian.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
was I was listening to an interview with the costume designer, and he basically was basing it off a close-up of a fly.
and I could see that
Yeah.
because there was
Yeah.
just so the
Yeah.
Coquillian,
Quillian.
Coquillion.
I
Yeah.
think.
Because even in the episode, I thought somebody kind of they called it a couple things.
This is old Doctor Who. They called everything.
Yeah,
Everything like
they
four
weren't too
different.
sure of it either. So
Yeah. Mhm. But yeah, I really liked the hands, like the little fingers, that kind
Yeah.
of thing he had, and
Mhm.
that kind of vibe, and all the quills to it. Oh, Quillian.
Yeah.
Good job, Melanie.
There you go.
You just connected those two dots. Um, but no, it's a good episode. It's fine. It's fine. I recommend watching it because it's fine. Next.
Okay. Mr. Gordon.
I thought it was pretty good. I think there's a lot to that's interesting about this. Obviously, it's Vicky's debut, so you're introducing a new companion. I did like the fact that, the sort of shadow of Susan is still over the TARDIS crew. You get to see the Doctor kind of still kind of missing her and everything, and that it's not played out completely, but I mean, they keep talking about how he's not his normal self. In fact, when they first get there, he's just like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Like you two kids explore.
Yeah.
And which is something that I was like, whoa, that's weird. And I think Ian and Barbara, this is season 2, and they seem like they're just so used to this by now. They're just like, okay, well, oh, it's another cave. And I mean, they even say that. They even are like, oh, this is, I mean, they're sort of old hands at this, it seems like now. And Barbara, yeah, to your point, Mel, she takes another fall again. But I mean, she gets right back up, and then later on, she shoots a thing. Like she just like she is. I mean, much to the detriment of everybody involved. She kind of shoots before she finds out everything that's going on there. So pet killer. Kept pet
Hartnell.
killer Barbara there. But I like the look of the Coquillians as well. I thought they were creepy looking, especially in black and white. And there's some imagery of them that just looks spooky. Like it just looks really creepy. Like this would be the stuff that would just be seared in your brain and you have nightmares about. Because the plot doesn't make a lot of sense and it's not great. And yeah, Vicky doesn't completely win me over. She is too much like Susan, and not in all the good ways. So yeah, I mean it's okay. I like the fact that Susan's from Earth. I mean, some Vicky's from Earth, even though it's a future Earth. Although we don't really, I don't know if that ever really plays out. Like she never really feels like she's from the future in this. So that's kind of, and I don't know, to be honest with you, I know I've seen episodes with her, but I couldn't really, nothing really stands out for me with her. So she's not a companion that I hold in high regard.
Well, there you go. Okay, Mary.
It's okay. I mean, it's just it's it's very middle of the road. It's not the most auspicious beginning introduction for a companion, in my opinion. And Vicky's very young and whiny, much like Susan, or much like they turned Susan into. And also, we got a little annoying that I mean, Barbara kills the pet. I mean, I realize
Oh,
she's
Sandy?
trying, yeah, Sandy. She's trying to protect Vicky and all of that, but they're very dismissive of Vicky's sadness and anger,
Yes. Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
and they're very condescending to her. I mean, they talk to her like she's 5, and
To be
I
honest, she
just
kind of acts like she's fine.
I was
yes, well,
gonna
that
say,
is true.
yeah.
But I mean, but they don't allow her to be more than that. So it just becomes frustrating. I mean, to watch the character get, sort of reined in and caged like that because you could have done something interesting with her and they did not. And so I found that, and seeing her in other episodes and knowing it doesn't get a whole lot better, um, I just found that unfortunate.
You
And
know, you,
so I wish
sorry,
they
Mary.
had, maybe gone out a little more on a limb.
Real quick though, you make up an interesting point though, and one thing I did really appreciate is when Vicky is having a hard time dealing with things. I was really surprised that they didn't have Barbara and Ian try to be the ones to uplift her. Instead, it's the
Mhm.
doctor that makes a connection with her, and I thought those scenes between them actually were kind of nice because at that point we really hadn't seen William Hartnell do that kind of thing a lot.
See, I agree with that, and I was going to bring that up
Yes,
too. That they actually, when it's just the two of them, there's actually a lot of compassion there and a lot of sympathy, and he does act more like the very caring grandfather
that's
at that
exactly what I
at
was
that
about to say.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Very grandfatherly and such.
Mhm.
I didn't, there were, like I was saying, Vicki, I didn't really care for in this, but I loved Ian and Barbara in this once again. And, Barbara was great in this. And, she wasn't going to back down from anything. And she thought she was trying to protect Vicki from Sandy. There's a monster coming towards us. And she had seen the ray gun. And so, which I found interesting. But, if the ray gun was there, why didn't Vicki use it on the Quake well?
What? It's a flare gun.
It's a flare gun. It's for
It's
rescue
supposed
purposes.
it's supposed to signal the ship that's coming to save them.
So she doesn't want anybody to use them.
I would still use it on an alien if it was threatening me. So
well, she wants to get rescued. That's the only for her. That's the only hope that they'll have to be rescued.
Right.
She's not gonna get
She's
rid
not
of
gonna take a chance.
One of the things I was noticing though is, I thought the whole thing about the rescue was also a setup until the very end, because when the doctor went into Bennett's office, or wherever he was holed up, there was a radio in there and there was with a microphone. And I was like thinking, was he faking that there was a rescue coming?
No.
I know
he wasn't, but yeah, I thought of that
I know.
too.
Yeah. I thought that until the very end when you actually heard the people, after the TARDIS was taking off, and you heard the people radioing in, hey, we're, checking in with you, type thing. So at first I thought, oh, is Bennett that big of a scumbag that he was, even
just leading her on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Apparently, in the original script, Bennett was gaslighting her the whole time. It was very mean to her, and they had to dial that down. Because I guess they felt like it was just too much. But
right,
yeah. So I guess there are elements of it that are still there. So it's not a total surprise when it's revealed that he's the bad guy. But
yeah. No, it's not
the ending makes no
Yeah,
sense whatsoever. But
if they made him so much more of the villain throughout it, if that was the case, Mike, then it would have been like, what? You mean Bennett's the one who killed everybody and her father? They gasp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you actually met the actual race from the planet, and they just popped up, didn't say a word or anything, but they were in hiding. It was interesting because when I first saw them, I got the Time Lord feel from them from the War Games, and the look and feel, and it was like, oh crap, the Time Lords are rescuing the Doctor back then, and they just didn't want to say it. No, not at all. But
they're just random survivors.
Exactly. And it was interesting also because the Doctor said he had been on the planet Dodo before. And so it must have been him and Susan before they landed on Earth, assumedly.
Well, unless he went out without Susan. But
yeah, exactly. Or it could have been the fugitive Doctor.
I was just thinking that was the Doctor who went there.
Exactly.
This is peaceful. There was no war, nothing like that.
It's amazing. In this two-parter, I was looking at it, I was reading about this stuff, like doing some research and everything, and there's a lot of firsts here. Because for a little, two-parter that's just meant to bridge from one companion to another, it's as you mentioned, Mike, it's the first time the Doctor has arrived on a planet other than Earth and claimed to have been there before. Right. It's the first time that the Doctor willingly asks someone to come and travel with them on the TARDIS. It's the first time a companion is replaced. It's the first time the Doctor will speak the name of a past companion, in error, but still. It's the first time that the sound effects of the TARDIS are laid over footage, so that because before this, exterior shots of the TARDIS landing had implied that the ship appeared soundlessly in a new environment. But with this one, we actually see the TARDIS and hear the noise. So from now on, that people on the outside, when it lands, can hear this noise too. It's the first story under Dennis Spooner, a script editor. It's the first time that Doctor Who breaks into the top 10 most watched programs of the week on BBC.
Wow.
And it remained one of the program's highest charted episodes and ratings, even taking into account the ones from 2005 2005 and
Really?
2023 and all that. Yeah, I
Wow.
mean, it's still, I don't know. Everybody wanted to tune in, I guess, and see who the new companion was. So there's a lot of like firsts on this little tiny two-parter, but man, it made an impact and did a lot of things for the first time.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's very, very interesting that you get that type of, first time stuff and for just a two-parter.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows that, it's only season two and the show's evolving, right? The
oh yeah.
show's trying to do things new and change things and still trying to work out some stuff and dealing with, like I said, I mean, they didn't have to replace, I mean, like it could have just been the Doctor and Ian and Barbara, but they felt that they really needed another young person in there, so that's why they instantly replaced her with Vicki. And I know that the actress who plays Vicki, who's still alive, by the way, Maureen
Oh yeah.
O'Brien is, bless her, she's 81 now, and she still does Big Finish, I guess, as Vicki.
Hmm.
Or she's done a lot of Big Finish. I'm not sure
She
the last
has.
time she did one was, but
She does crowd
uh,
appearances, I know, still.
and
UK.
I know she's, talked about how she was really nervous of coming into this show where everybody, she's a new person, she's a new one, and everybody has a way of working and everything like that. But apparently, it was William Hartnell that made her feel really welcome and at home. And also, uh, I'm drawing her blank now, but the girl who played Susan, Caroline Ford, actually
Yes.
showed up on the first day and kind of just said that, like talked her through it and everything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool that they went out of their way to make sure that she was welcome as part
Yes.
of the cast.
No, I thought for a two-parter, it was interesting. And like you said, it was a good way to introduce a companion. And, especially like you said, it was a very easy way. They could have just said, okay, let's keep on traveling, just Ian and Barbara and everything. And then when they left, brought in two new companions or something.
I think the just like we see still to this day the studio and BBC and everybody, the producers were afraid to change what was working, and so when Caroline Ford left, they said we have to bring in a new girl and make her as much like Susan as we can. In fact, they actually asked Maureen to dye her hair, cut her hair and dye it black, and she was like, why don't you just get Caroline Ford back? She said she refused to do it. She's like, I'm not doing that. But
No.
and that was a smart play because she's someone different.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Well,
they were so
exactly.
afraid of doing things that were going to mess up with the formula.
But it was interesting because I remember watching Adventures in Time and Space, and they dealt with, Caroline Ford leaving, and there was a lot of pomp and circumstance about Vicky coming in and
Mm.
everything
Mhm.
in this and they had all these news conferences and at the BBC and champagne celebration with everybody, and it was interesting to see. So things things to come. And you also had the Doctor sleeping through the TARDIS landing for the first,
Yeah.
You're right.
which was interesting. It's like, wait, we've landed. It's like, so because
Yeah.
you
I mean,
rarely see the Doctor sleeping on the show at all, ever.
and especially this one not wanting to be like, oh, we've landed. Let's go outside and start exploring. No, it's
Yep.
Yeah,
good.
I wonder if that
You
was their way
go.
of like showing that he was
Yeah.
grieving, that something was wrong with him.
Yeah, I think it was.
That's
Yeah.
a good possibility, actually. I think you're probably right.
Yeah. They were trying to show their and I think actually I'm glad they did it and they did it well that they acknowledged that the departure of Susan had an effect on him, that he
Hmm.
wasn't just it humanized him. He wasn't just this, curmudgeon who basically kidnapped Ian and Barbara. He it gave you a way in to relate to him, and I appreciated that they did
Hmm.
that.
Exactly. Very interesting. And you know what? And of course, she was the first one to come in and look, it's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
So there you go. Any final thoughts on this before we go ahead and rate this one?
the other little story I thought was cool because we talked about how, badass Barbara is, but I think even more badass is Jacqueline Hill, played Barbara, because apparently when she shoots the sand beast, when her character shoots the sand beast, the powder on the prop gun detonated prematurely, and she was treated for shock and a sore face because it blew up kind of on her. And
Oh,
she still
Ooh.
went on and did the thing. So, she really took one for the team. So, way to go, Jacqueline Hill.
Yeah, well, that
yay.
does not sound like fun at all. I mean,
No, not at all.
unfortunately, they also continue a trope that happens to this day in Doctor Who of the villain being a piece of cardboard.
Yes.
Because, he has no, you don't learn about his motivations at all. I love that he's like, I killed the guy on the ship, so then I came here and killed everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay,
I
was there
killed.
And
like perhaps some sort of reason
But I left the
you would
girl
have done
alive.
that?
yeah.
Right, that makes sense. I mean,
She's to become my common law wife. So, that's
oh God,
okay.
give him at least a little tiny, give him a monologue at least, give us a
Yeah,
Exactly.
few details.
Well, well,
he was waiting for the rescue ship to show up so he can kill those people next.
we only got
Exactly.
Yes,
two
well,
They're running out
episodes.
of people to
that's
We
pretty
kill.
don't
much
have
all he
time.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Take their ship and, then leave. So, and leave Vicky behind
Yeah.
with Sandy. Yeah. So there you go.
Murder spree Bennett.
Exactly. All right. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Ms. Mary Ogle, you're the birthday girl. You get to go first.
I feel like giving it a 2.5, even though that sounds kind of mean-spirited in a way, but it just is so middle of the road for me.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure that, and even though I would tell people, yes, watch it, it's, but it's not going to move you in any way. Don't set your expectations too high. So yeah,
Right.
2.5.
Okay. Melanie.
Uh, while the 2.5 is a very strong case, I was just going to go middle of the road 3. It's just for tropey goodness. It's everything that there's no curveballs. There's no, I could, if I wanted to tell somebody to watch a first Doctor story that's going to be formulaic, is exactly what it is. And this is how Doctor Who's going to most likely handle new companions just showing up. Um, no. Yeah, I'd give it a 3. I mean, I would recommend it to somebody saying that they want to see a first Doctor and they don't want to invest any time because they're just a terrible human being and I can't get them to watch the Aztecs one. I mean, this isn't a bad starter because again, I didn't see this before, and when I saw this on the list to watch, I'm like, ooh, 2 episodes. I kind of got excited for that. Like, okay,
And you
middle of
kept
the
on
road. It's a
watching
3.
after it even. So you kept on going.
Yeah, I did because I was had nothing else to do. I was already in my nice little popcorn mode. I'm like, oh, okay, Murder
Okay.
Spree Reddit next. Like, yes, Tubi. Yeah, I'll watch the next one.
There you go.
3.
All right, Mr. Mike.
I'm going to give it a solid 3 as well. I was tempted to go a little bit higher, but like to 3.5, because there are some moments in this that, like I said, I think the design of the monsters were all of them, the creature in the pit, as well as the Sandy and all, like they were all really well done, I thought. And creepy the way they're filmed. Christopher Barry did a great job directing this one, I think.
Yep.
And also William Hartnell. I mean, he's sleeping through most of the first part, but in the second part, between him having some nice moments with Vicky, as well as, he's really the go-getter. Like he's the driving force to go after Bennett. And he even confronts him and has a little fight with him and everything like that. And he's a doctor of action here. And you don't usually see that with some of these early ones. So I think it's a pretty solid William Hartnell appearance too. So I'd give it a solid 3.
Okay. Very cool. Um, wow. You know, I'm going to give it a solid 3 also. I'm not going to go as low as Mary, so,
I'm the bad guy.
and, Vicki actually pulled it down for me, but I think the sets were wonderful in this one too. The spaceship.
Yeah, the effects work and everything.
Yeah, the production values are really good in this one.
In this one, I loved in the cave when they had the knives coming out of the wall. If you notice, there was the knives were coming out of a sculpture, basically, of the sandworm or whatever it was, of Sandy, and out of its face. And I just thought that was brilliant. I thought that was really well done. And it's like, oh, don't let it be, extra sets they had for the Aztecs or something like that. But it was really well done. And, as a lot of time with Doctor Who, especially old series, there wasn't a lot of sets. It's literally, I think there's three sets in this whole thing, including the TARDIS. So it's not all that much. And so I thought with what they were working with, I thought it was very well done. Would I recommend this as a first episode to watch? No, I wouldn't. Even though it does introduce a new companion, I would still, if you're going to start here with the first Doctor, go back to, An Unearthly Child. So, but, it's only a season and a half back. So, but it's neat also to see how the show has evolved from that point to where they're at this point. So overall, definitely it was a fun two episode, and I'm very glad it was only two. So there you go.
Still better than anything Chibnall did.
I thought I had the dinner ready.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't.
We need to get one of those like little twirlers. Chibnall alert, Chibnall alert.
Well, we have TARDIS ratings and we have Chibnall ratings.
The Chibnall scale.
Well, we definitely
How many
would love to
Chibnalls
hear
would
from
you
you
give
guys
this?
at home. Please write us feedback at earthstationwho.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. Let's wrap it up for tonight. Thank you, everybody, who joined us and who's watching us. Everyone who was at Pensacon and came to our panel. Thank you. Thank you. It was actually a fun talk. It really was. And, we went off the rails as always with our show and our panels, as always.
Yeah, we didn't talk at all about what we were going to talk about.
No. But you know what? People were interested. People were very fun, and it was very positive. And that's what I loved. We didn't have any negativity.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in that room.
Yes, it was. And so thank you, Pensacon, once again. All right. We'll be back again in 2 weeks. But a little note that when the new episodes of Doctor Who come out, we'll be reviewing them every week. And we're working on technology that we'll be able to go do live episodes again. So, we will be bringing news on that hopefully very soon also. So fingers crossed. Let's thank our crew for being here, of course. Mr. Mike Gordon, thank you as always, my friend.
And as always, it's my pleasure. Hey, I do want to point out that in next week, well, not this weekend coming up, but next weekend, I will be traveling to Indiana, and I'll be going to the Indiana Comic-Con, only for the Friday, though. I'm just going up to visit some family up there and some friends. I'm going to hang out with my Bat Chums co-host, Drew. And one of the things that we're going to do, besides going to the convention, is on Saturday we've scheduled to visit Who North America, which is a place in Canby, Indiana, which is America's Doctor Who store. It is a cornucopia of Doctor Who merchandise, all just in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. So I am looking forward to checking that out. And it's going to be tempting. It's going to be hard on my wallet, I'm sure, because they've got everything there. Merchandise, Big Finish stuff. They've got
merchandise, sir. Merchandise.
They've got the stuff.
They got Doctor Who the flamethrower. They've got Doctor Who the doormat. It's awesome.
I'm excited to go there. So
it'll be awesome. You'll love it. You'll definitely love it. Cool.
Have you been?
Me? No.
Oh, I just wondered if anybody.
I've driven through Indiana. I've never stopped because I fear the state, so it's okay. So
I've not been, but I've interviewed the nice people who've own it and had to walk through and stuff like that. So yeah, I've virtually been there, and my Lord,
I've shopped.
seething with jealousy.
Yeah, I've shopped at the store online, but I have not actually been to the store. So, now that I'm not doing pops anymore, I think Doctor Who's merchandise is going to be coming up more on my list more.
Yeah, I think that's how they do most of their sales. I don't think the regular Canby folks in the are frequent viewer shoppers there. But yeah, for those people who want to check it out, it's their website is whoandA.com.
Definitely, and we will have a link to it in our show notes, so definitely check that out. Ms. Mary Ogle, it was wonderful spending time with you and your sister.
As always, I had a wonderful time with you guys.
Didn't hurt being at the beach, too. Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Oh, no, it never hurts being by the Gulf of Mexico.
Damn straight. Damn straight. Look it up on a map, folks. Unless you look at...
No, don't look it up on a map.
Don't use Google Maps. There's tons of other maps out there. So, definitely. And how can people find your artwork?
They can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Awesome. And Ms. Melanie Dean, it's wonderful to have you back.
And it's wonderful to be here, and it's wonderful hanging out with you wonderful people.
Ooh.
I can use words.
Yes, you can. And you're going to be going to Japan very soon.
Next month, I will be going to Japan first. I'll be going to Seattle first for work, and then I'll be going to Japan for Star Wars Celebration. So yes, some traveling's on the docket. So there's a lot of work before it. So
I do understand that. Very nice, very nice. How can people find your artwork?
You can look on Instagram at Pieces of Melee. However, I am a little bit more busy on the worky side. So if you want to see the stained glass kind of aspect, follow me at Diamond Tech Crafts, CRAFTS.
Nice.
And that's on Instagram.
Whoa.
Very nice. We'll definitely check it out. And of course, thank you for everybody who's been following us. And we've gotten some new members to our Facebook group. And if you've made it this far into the episode, of course, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And if you feel like sponsoring us, the ESO Network does have a Patreon. And for as little as $1 a month, you too can actually get the show a couple days early. And, other kind of cool stuff is in the planning stages for Patreon. So definitely check it out. ESO Network is our listing on Patreon. So please help us and like and subscribe, as we like to say. Thank you as always. We will see you both in 2 weeks. And, all our 2 listeners and watchers. So definitely thank you as always. We'll see you next time. My name is Mike Faber. We'll see you then. Peace. And we are done. Later.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.